Welcome to the Plato Paradigm, a paradigm shift in reading Plato's dialogues. Episode 56, Euthyphro 11e to 12a. All this talk about Daedalus should have given Euthyphro some time to think of some new hypothesis about the holy, what the holy is. But he evidently still doesn't want to answer, as we may understand from what Socrates says next. Kai tuton men aden, epede de moidoces su trufan, autos soi sum prothumesomai, hopos anme didaxes peritu hosiu, kai me pro apocames. Enough about these things, in other words, about Daedalus. Since you seem to me to be spoiled, I myself shall be eager with you, so that you might teach me about the holy. And don't you give up. Socrates is still keeping up the pretense that he wants Euthyphro to teach him eventually, and he's just going to give him an example of the sort of thing he should say. Euthyphro will understand that Socrates is simply going to say what the holy is. He won't see that the main part of Socratic education, which is to examine any opinion that they currently hold, asking questions, collecting evidence, finding what is common to everything, and so on, and eventually refuting the answer. This doesn't mean that refutation is the end result that Socrates is aiming for. He has already said that he would rather not have to change his opinions. Systematic opinions which cannot be refuted indicate understanding. The point is that if you don't know, but you think you know, it would be much better not to have that opinion. When Socrates says that Euthyphro is spoiled, he means that he's weak, effeminate, he's making life easy for himself. And this must be a reference to Euthyphro complaining that anything he offers changes. So Socrates is not simply going to give him an answer to the question, what is the holy? But he's going to toughen Euthyphro up a bit by showing him that you can give an answer and cross-examine and risk changing the answer. And this is what Socrates wants Euthyphro to teach him. At least that is what Socrates says. The verb for teaching, didasko, is reserved for people like the sophists who provide information. And this Euthyphro would understand as simply giving the answer. The holy is something. That would be teaching. What Socrates adds here in action is to cross-examine and perform dialectic, basically. This Euthyphro is quite unaware of, but Socrates may hope that some of his actions would rub off on Euthyphro. Certainly the problem with answers changing has to be addressed. Euthyphro should not give up just because his opinions have been changed or refuted. This is actually a good thing, but Euthyphro doesn't understand that. He probably still doesn't understand how his answers have been refuted. Socrates now gives his answer. This is what Euthyphro will think is his example of teaching. He's not aware that Socrates will go on to refute even this answer. Idegar ukanankaion soidoke dikaion enai pantohosion. Emoige. For see if it doesn't seem necessary to you that all of the holy is just, or the just. It seems to me, notice how Euthyphro jumps on this answer. He loves it. It's completely different from any answer he's given, but it's an answer, and he wants an answer. Any answer will do. He's happy with it. It sounds right as well. The holy is the just. That sounds good enough, because the holy is dealt with in the law court of the Archon Basilius. It definitely has something to do with justice. So this sounds good enough. As I was translating, I said that all of the holy was just or the just. This is because in Greek the predicate, the thing said about the subject, usually appears without a definite article, even if we would expect a definite article there. The subject and the predicate in Greek are in the same case, and the only way they can be distinguished is if the subject has a definite article. So the subject can have a definite article or not, and the predicate will simply not have a definite article. This is the general case. Socrates himself would necessarily be saying that to hosion, the holy, is to dikaion, the just, because he's been asking all the time for the thing which is in every example of holy, whatever it is which is in every example of holy which makes it holy, he's saying is just. There is justice in every thing which is considered holy. And the common denominator in all of these just things is the just, to dikaion. So he must be saying to dikaion. Of course, because it's a predicate, he only says dikaion. And then Euthyphro can understand this wrongly as the holy is just. Socrates begins to complicate matters immediately, or in other words, he begins to cross-examine this answer. Arun kai panto dikaion hosion. So then, is all the just also holy? He asks this question as if it follows from the answer. If all of the holy is the just, then it follows that all of the just is the holy. However, for Euthyphro, if all of the holy is just, we're simply describing all of the holy as just, does it follow that all of the just is holy? In other words, do we describe all of justice as holy? This doesn't make sense. Not every law case is conducted in the court of the Archon Basilius. This is the whole point of the Archon Basilius. He presides over these particular instances of justice, the ones which have something to do with tohosion, the holy. Socrates doesn't give Euthyphro time to reply, or he does give Euthyphro time to reply and he doesn't, and he carries on with the next obvious question. E tomen hosion pan dikaion, todi dikaion upan hosion, ala tomen autu hosion, tode ti kai alo. Or is all the holy just, or the just, but not all the just holy, but some of it holy and some of it something else? This makes sense so far as it goes if we consider justice in the court of the Archon Basilius as holy, while justice in other law courts is not holy. It doesn't have anything to do with holiness. Of course, there is the other problem that the holy surely involves a lot more than justice. At the moment, though, Socrates is giving Euthyphro a fairly simple choice. Is the whole of justice the holy, or just holy, or is only part of justice holy. Remember that Euthyphro eagerly accepted an answer given by Socrates, but when he is made to answer, we get problems. Straight away he says, "Uch hepomai, O Socrates, tois legomenois." Socrates, I don't follow what's being said. He probably doesn't, but it's also a good excuse for not giving an answer. He could have just picked one option and see what happens. Kaimen neoteros gemue uk elatone hososophoteros al holego trufas hupoplutu te sophias. Well, you're younger than me, no less than you are more experienced, more expert. In other words, you are as expert as you are younger than me. But as I say, you're spoilt by the wealth of your expertise. This is clever wordplay. Wealthy people tend to be spoilt. They get used to luxury and then they don't make an effort. Would an expert actually be like this? Do you have a wealth of expertise which causes you to be lazy? Not really. This is wordplay. Socrates is getting the message across that Euthyphro is lazy, but at the same time he's still allowing Euthyphro to think that he, Socrates, thinks that Euthyphro is an expert. He's not saying in what field at the moment, but it doesn't matter. He's being polite. He's praising Euthyphro. Euthyphro takes the criticism that he is lazy. If last time Socrates said that Euthyphro was lazy because he just wouldn't give an answer, this time it's slightly different, and it could actually be applied to the previous time as well. Al o makaria suntenes auton, kai gar udecha lepon katanoe sai holego. But, O Blessed One, pull yourself together, for it's not difficult to understand what I'm saying. So Euthyphro's laziness now pertains to his inability to follow an argument. And Socrates says it's not difficult to understand, or it's something like grasp, completely follow using one's mind, katanoesai. It has the idea of nous in there, nous is mind. And here is Socrates' clarification. Lego garde to enantion e hopoietes epoiesen hopoiesas, for I am saying the opposite of what the poet produced when he produced, and then we have a quote. I say produced because the verb poieo means produce, and poietes is a producer. We'll leave the quote from the poet until next time. But the clarification is that Socrates meant the opposite of what this poet is about to say.